Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man!
All right, episode 108 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Joe and Don from E2 Embroidery in Missouri. Let's go! Shirt show!
Hey there, handsome.
Hey, boo.
Hey.
Oh, love the shirt.
Thanks. I feel like you have one of these.
Yeah, I do. It's funny. We both went and bought some stuff, and I think we bought the same stuff.
Yeah, we did.
Lots of choices, but we just chose the same. Isn't that? It's like we're twins.
Hive mice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You look good. You look good.
Thanks, man.
So, how's my little hiker?
Good. Kicked my ass last week.
What about your ass?
I got kicked by the hiking.
Was it because it was in like you went in elevation, or what? Was
Yeah.
hard?
So a lot different elevation wise here versus there. But also, I mean, it's a mountain. So when you hike it, it's all uphill.
Well, I think
Except for coming back.
There you go. Yeah, you probably come back down.
Yeah, but going up is just like, whoa. It's like fucking nonstop.
Did you almost die ever?
No, it was good. Like there was a couple of times where I just had to stop for a second, get a drink, but I mean, it was good. It was awesome. It was really fun. And Tyler and Amanda took us up and found a sweet trail. And it's crazy like how insanely beautiful it is out there. Like the trees and
Yeah.
shit's
So
massive.
who's Tyler and Amanda? Tell us.
Tyler is the head of production at the Black Rifle print shop. And Amanda is kind of like his number two. And they're both friends of ours. And good people.
Who does number two work for?
Mhm.
Check.
I like your crew neck and your hat and your face and your hands and all your stuff, all your features.
Oh, check this out.
What is that? Your sign's beautiful.
Yeah, that screen printer.
Yeah, mine's right
duty.
there, sitting because I still need to hang it up.
Yeah, but mine is real.
Yeah, mine too.
Oh, sure. So what else did you do in the gorgeously beautiful
Utah.
state of Utah? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Tom told me before we went, he's like, hey, there's this like regional supply is putting on like a I don't know, it's kind of like a mini convention. It's just like a showcase for vendors. And we were gonna stop by. And I was like, all right, cool. So literally like landed, got food, went there, walked in, and it was just like, booths, like kind of like normal, and hung out at the M&R one for a little bit. And I turned the corner and there was a booth for Chromaline.
Hell yeah.
I was like, what the hell? I was like, that's awesome. And then I saw nobody was at the booth at all. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. I wonder who's running it. I looked up and there were business cards, and I grabbed a business card, picked it up, and it was fucking Kevin's. I was like, Kevin's here? And then one of the other people was like, Nicole at M&R was there, and she was like, yeah, he's doing a seminar right now. So I walked out to the seminars, and I like peeked my head around the door, and he's like, giving his speech about emulsion and all this other stuff. And I like look at him, and I'm just like, and he fucking smirks. So I feel like a dick. So everyone turns around and looks at me, and then I walk in and sit down, and I listen to the rest of his class, and it was awesome. It was a good class. He had a lot of that's what she said. And I kept saying it to Logan because he was sitting next to me. Logan was laughing the entire time. And then I realized when it was over that right behind me over my shoulder was a camera that Kevin had set up to record his session.
I hope it picked up all the audio.
I do too. I really do.
And you should have, when you went there, you should have spicolied the door, like,
yeah.
It's like knocked.
I was trying not to interrupt. I was just trying to get him to laugh. Yeah. And then, it was awesome. Hung out with, asked Kevin out to dinner. We went out for some steaks and had a great night. And then the next day went to Black Rifle and had coffee. and then went to Chick-fil-A for lunch. Went to Design Inc. and saw their shop, which is fucking insane.
Tell me about that.
Well, they have something like, I don't know what it is, like 15, 16 autos. And it's like the most clean and organized and like well-run shop I've ever seen and been into.
Except for here.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, I saw it last year because I went and toured it last year. And then they didn't have any digital then. And then this year they like dove hard into digital. So they have like a DS. I can't remember I don't think they have a Maverick. They have a DS and he got 2 Polarises.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have like a whole side of their shop now that's digital because their market is like the what is it? The resort market. So they're doing like, like all these big resorts and stuff. So they do they do a ton of sampling. And I asked him, I was like, so what, how many samples do you do? Because he said today we were going to run some samples. And I was like, all right, how much sampling do you do? He's like, well, we probably sample for like 8 months of the year, like just running samples. So the digital stuff for them would be huge because they could just stack up samples and then
as long as it
print
matches, like as long as the digital
well, that was
the final,
right? And that was tough. The thing. That was the thing is like they sent a bunch of stuff to M&R to get sample done, and then they went and like had a whole big time with Michelle, and he was stoked on everything. He's like, quality is right up there with everything, and they obviously invested. So we went out and saw all that stuff, hung out with him for the day. Sean showed us around, which was super awesome, and then left there. Met up with Tyler and Amanda and went on the hike, which was mind blowing again.
So you went to both of those shops because you were shooting video on this stuff, like as a sort of like for M&R, right? Okay,
yeah.
And you shot the video on your iPhone Pro 13.
No, Logan was there with his camera and mics and everything.
Okay, you were mic'd up.
Right here. It was right here.
All right. You said some smart stuff.
I tried.
That's cool.
As much as I can.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. So yeah, it was just a lot of hiking and a lot of hanging out with some sweet shop stuff.
Okay.
And I got back yesterday night. And
so you would say I got back
last night
because yesterday night.
Sorry. Oh, did I flub my words? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you never do that.
You need to be very specific when you're having a conversation with me. Okay, remember that.
I'll never do it again.
Hey, have you heard of The Old Man?
The show on Hulu.
Yeah. Have you watched it yet?
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
I haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah, you should. We started watching it. Well, we've watched. There's only 3 episodes because I think they released 2, and then there was one every Friday, and so we watched 3, the 3 that are available. It's really good. And in fact, we don't have Hulu, we have Netflix and I don't know, a couple other things, but we went to go to Hulu and I figured, we're going to sign up for the trial or whatever, so we can watch this fucking thing. And guess what? I didn't have to. You know why? Because Christina's login was there when she was visiting. So we're like, all right. So we just hit go.
So you just watched it on her account?
Yeah. So, and then I texted her, or we did today, and we're like, hey, by the way, thanks for that. But I
Never
originally, yeah, right. So it's ours now. We'll just use it whenever we want.
Right, obviously.
But do you know what fucking just came out? I had no idea until I saw a preview for it. Beavis and Butthead
do the
movie? Universe. Yeah.
I know.
It came out like a couple of days ago, and so it's on Paramount Plus, which we don't have.
I can give you my login.
You fucker. Yeah, I already logged in. So like this, I'm gonna watch it tonight. So I went on there just to make sure that I can get logged in and all that shit. And so I downloaded the app for our TV, and then I synced my whatever thing, and I got a week's free trial, and boom, I can watch Beavis and Butthead do the universe.
Okay. Well, if you want to cancel the trial, you can use my account.
I should. Have you seen the preview for it? Like
Mhm.
oh god, it's so good. Can't wait.
Yeah, it looks amazing. So how was your week?
My week was great. Yeah, like isn't that the thing? Isn't that the thing with the
Weeks.
world right now? I mean, I think you should just be happy that you open your eyes in the morning and that there's fresh air in the world, and
Kinda.
then you print a couple of shirts, and then you drive home and you have a sandwich.
Gourmet pizza.
We actually did. Joanne made a pizza.
I saw it. It looked amazing.
She put it on her story. I didn't see it. Yeah, so she made me a pizza. She took care of me this weekend. Yeah, she did.
Good.
She actually gave me breakfast, served me, I guess is the right way to put it, breakfast in bed. She asked, like, so how do you want your eggs and your toast? What should I do? And then how much cream cheese? And then she brought it to me, and it didn't have enough cream cheese, and I threw the fucking plate. And she made it all over again with the right amount. It was perfect the second time around. Cool. So yeah, I don't know. It was a nice weekend, relaxing weekend. I wish it weren't over though. Well, I mean, it's not, right? It's Sunday, which is really, really fucking weird because we haven't recorded on a Sunday.
I'm so stoked to be back to Sundays.
Like, how many Sundays has it been?
It's been a long time. It's been such like it's okay recording in a weekday, but it's such a clusterfuck.
It's hard. It is. Like, it's just way harder because, well, for one, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but there's lights, there's all those shop lights back there, and I got to turn them off. Otherwise, it's like glowing light shining in and you can't see shit. And so I turn off the lights to shipping and receiving, and then it kind of bothers one of our presses, but I tell them, hey guys, sorry, you're gonna have to print in the fucking dark for like an hour, basically. And then I don't know, just everything else.
Yeah, I agree.
It does make the day go by faster. I kind of like that part because all of a sudden it's like, whoa, it's later. Where did the time go?
How time works. Weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Frank. I was just talking about Frank earlier today.
Why and to whom?
There's a buddy of mine who sent me a message who started screen printing for his clothing line. And he was talking about having issues with wet on wet. And the first thing I asked him was, what's your screen tension? What kind of screens are you using? And what your off contact was and all this stuff. And I said, hey, you know what you need to do? Call Frank. Get some good screens.
That story took my breath away. Hold on.
It was the best response.
Dilly, it all starts with a screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF,
rank.com,
or
greatfuckingscreens.com.
That's correct.
But seriously, do it though.
Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will help you keep your screens and your shop clean. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
Action Engineering makes all kinds of accessories printers need. Go to actionengineering.com to have a look, and then use Shirt Show at checkout and get a one-time discount of 15% off. But if you've already used that code, then use SS103, and that is the one you want.
For an additional 10% off.
Nope. I don't think it's like then, because the way you just said that, it was like 15.
It sounds like 25% off.
Yeah, but I don't.
That's not what it is. It's if you've used the 15 for your one time, if you want to order something again, use SS103 and it'll get
there you
10%
go.
off.
There you go.
Purchase.
That's way better.
Right. See, I was acting dumb. I knew what it was, but I wanted to run through that scenario in case anyone had, was confused.
I see what we did.
Right.
Okay. Monarch Color makes ink that does what it's supposed to do. They have the most opaque mixing system in the biz. In fact, I have a customer that sends us originals from a different mixing system that we have to match. And we sometimes, yeah, this is true, sometimes have to like base ours down to get it duller.
Yeah.
Like so that it matches theirs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to make it not as opaque.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a true story. It's that good. And so to learn more, go to monarchcolor.com. Ink better, print better, be better.
Live Moss.
Monarch.
Hell yeah.
Does any of the following apply to you? It is becoming more difficult to both create all of the art and run your business at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're having a bad day and need somebody to talk to. Or do you need help with complicated steps? Then go to 1-900
hotstuff.com.
and your problems will be solved.
Mm-hmm.
All
Truly.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what your problems were. Solved.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Solved.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has problems. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, if you go to Graphic Source, you may have 99 problems, but art ain't going to be one. Art ain't one, baby. You know, that's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Edit that out.
I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed.
Okay. So, okay. We've got a Chromoline tip of the week. And Dylan, could you please read it for us? It's the word that starts with exposing.
Sure. Exposing your screens correctly is essential, and many shops underexpose their screens. One telltale sign of underexposure is if you feel the squeegee side of your screen while developing, it may feel slimy. Exposure testing is pretty easy and gets you the results you want fast.
That's right.
And you should run an exposure calculator every so often, regardless, just to double check and make sure they are correct. Also, too, if you live somewhere that has like different seasons, you should check it in every season because of temperature and humidity and all those changes.
Yeah, absolutely 100% true. So when you say every so often, what do you think? Like, what would you say?
Well, that's why I said seasons, like check it in the wintertime, check it in the spring, check it in the summer.
Yeah, at least 4 times a year, but I would say even more than that, because it's so easy just to throw a little step test or throw something like on the bottom of an already, like a screen you're already making, already exposed.
It's not difficult.
Throw it on there. Yeah, it's pretty easy. And so if you're not sure how to do that, then go to chromoline.com and you can watch Kevin's hunky videos and learn all about exposure.
Yeah.
And other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you definitely want. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. If you have underexposed screens or overexposed screens, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna have, your emulsion won't come off right, or it'll come off gross and stringy when you're trying to reclaim, or your halftone dots will blow out or not blow out.
You have screen breakdown.
All sorts of problems. Hey, Andy. Who do we have on today, bud?
Dylan, today we are chatting with Don and Joe Edding from E2 Embroidery and Screen Printing, and they are located in, I'm not sure, either KCK or KC Mo. Do you know?
What does that
mean? I wanted you not to know. Yeah, this is so cool. So yeah, did you know that Kansas City, there's a Kansas City, Kansas, and then
That's
a Kansas City, Missouri? Yeah, they could be in my home state of Missouri. And you would think that if Kansas, like a city called Kansas City, it should be in Kansas.
But it's not.
Part of it is.
Where are they from? I'm confused.
Should we let them in?
I still don't know where they're from, but yeah.
I don't either. They're from Kansas City. Let's just call it that. Let's just say that. It'd be way easier, wouldn't it? So now what?
Let them in.
All right. I'll do whatever you do.
Really? Maybe this one. Did you let him in, or are we just doing this?
Oh, let's let him
You
in.
didn't
while we do
let him in.
Here we go. There.
What is this move you're doing? Let's just be like weirdly stretching when they come on. That does feel good though. Wow.
Hi guys,
Hey,
how are ya?
what's happening?
Not too much.
What's in the background there? We got like a quarter of a picture. I'm confused.
Let's guess.
It's my kids.
That's what I was gonna guess. I was gonna guess it was your kids.
But Joe's been sick since Friday, so we decided to do this at home.
Oh, nice.
Just now getting over that kind of. So.
What's going on? You got the sniffles?
A little bit of that, just drainage and just like sweating all night. Just invisible.
So it just sounds like a Tuesday for me. Lots of drainage and sweating.
Yeah.
Enough to where we were dousing him with Lysol and put him on the couch so he didn't get us all germs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's always good for the skin.
Right.
So what else is going on? You guys working this weekend at all, or?
No.
Yeah, we didn't. He was sick and I was like, well, I'm going to be off too.
Yeah. I had a couple guys that wanted to come in this weekend and do some work, and I was like, yeah, let's just forget about it this weekend. I just didn't feel good.
How often do you work weekends?
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, but not full days and stuff. I have one part-time printer that he works at another shop, and he'll come in at night and knock out a job or something if it's, time sensitive, or he'll come in on a weekend too, and, we'll just knock out a job or two, just kind of stay ahead of it. But not like full shifts and stuff with everybody there.
I just saw some hair come into the frame real quick. Is there someone
Come in. This is Riley.
This is our youngest one.
That watches Church Show with us religiously.
Yeah, she runs around going, Church Show.
Perfect. We'll have you do it for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got her working yet, or what?
Yep.
Occasionally. Yeah.
She cuts backing. She
Yeah,
tapes screens. What else have you done?
she caught shirts at the end of the
Cut
day.
skirts. Shirts. Cut shirts.
Yeah, we
Clean squeegees.
breaking labor laws left and right.
Yeah.
Nice.
My
Free
kid,
labor.
my kiddo was offloading shirts on the auto. It was probably his head was just a little bit higher, like than the auto. So, and he would just offload them from that young. Really, I mean, I think it's awesome. I think that it shaped him a lot. Like maybe he didn't realize it at the time.
Right.
Well, obviously it shaped him. Look what he's doing now.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's great for kids. I don't know. I wish I had that opportunity.
Yeah, it is. I think it's great. But all of our kids were raised in the print shop in some kind of capacity. So all middle school and high school, they're like, we will never work there. I'm never doing that. And they're all there.
Now two of them are there full time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How is it working with, can you yell at them the same way you do at home?
We try to.
She's shaking her head.
Yeah.
No, now that they're all adults, they really are, and they're amazing employees. Like I had to birth my employees to do what we needed them to do because they're great. Like one of my daughters runs the front, so she does everything: answering phones, order entry, customer service. The other runs the embroidery room. And we're to the point where we were out of town last week, and they're like, "Mother, stop calling us. We're fine."
Right.
And they really were, but I'm just like so over the top and want them to still be little kids when they're not. They're 22, 23 years old. Yeah, they can
So what
handle
we
it.
decided was we should have had more kids, so we would have more competent laborers.
That's how they do it in the old farming days. You know what I mean?
When my son was working for me, he was going through like this stage of he ate like, I don't know, 10,000 calories a day or something. He always was eating. And so he was here, and I remember, I don't know, maybe it was 10:30 in the morning. All of a sudden he was hungry again. And there was a KFC, like you can see it from our shop. He's like, "Dad, I need KFC." And I'm like, and he thought that he could just like walk over there and get it while we're working. I'm like, "Well, you can get KFC, but it's a lunch. Like we have lunch at 12. There's no going to KFC now." And I remember him being like, he was so upset that he had to follow the rules of everyone else, and it was like, he didn't get it at first, but then, like he can't be treated. I think that's part of it, is that if you're going to have your kids working alongside other people, then it's not like they have special privileges or anything. They have to work just like everyone else.
Right. Not at all. We made them all get a job somewhere else. They worked at Corner Cafe, Worlds of Fun, like all the crappy jobs when they were 14, 15, 16. And then they were able to help out during holiday season and stuff at the shop. But we wanted to make sure someone else showed them that you come 15 minutes early, you clock in, here's a break.
Oh, dude.
Don't overdo it.
That's so huge. I wish I could do that for some of the employees I have now.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, hey, can I just have you go work somewhere else for like 2 weeks so you can come back and be like, quit bitching at me for stuff that's like not that big of a deal.
Like be on time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, and that's true. I mean, I've hired people like this is their first job. You know what I mean? And then they get comfy and they're just like, oh, showing up at like 10:30 when they're supposed to be here at 9, or not telling me at all that they're not coming in until after lunch, or just it's not even that. It's just like other stuff, like just daily task stuff that it's just like you've never had a real boss, have you?
Right.
Because like I am not a hard ass by any means. Like it's like so like I've had this discussion a million times, but it's like I sit at my desk and I can hear everything going on in the office, and there'll be a conversation going on about like anything. It could be like a bird for like 45 minutes, and it's like, guys. Get back to like, I don't care if you guys hang out, but get fucking back to work. Like
talk about this while the press is turning.
Right.
Yeah, like seriously, like come on.
I used to just tell my kids, don't embarrass me. You better be the first ones here and the last ones to leave. Don't let me find you coming in at 9:01 or now 7:01 when I expect everybody else to be, but they're always the first ones there and the last ones to leave. Make sure everything's done right. It's kind of scary. I feel like we did a good job parenting on these too.
Well, yeah, that's great, because the other thing too is like you said, if you want to go on vacation or do something, or if you want to leave it to them sometime, like they're capable.
Yeah.
See, like that's my fear as like a parent of like now being like, oh, I want to leave my kids this business. I was like, they're little, but like, are they going to be interested? Are they going to want to learn everything that I've learned? Or are they just going to like try to, at 25 or 30, like step in and be like, okay, I'm in charge now. And it's like, no, I feel like you need to work here for like 10 years first before you take over.
Like Billy Madison, you just send them to like school again. They have to go through all the grades.
Yeah. But I could look through all my text messages when we were on vacation, and I would say, did you see the email from whoever? And I would get the little stop sign. They're like, just leave us alone. We're fine.
They say that, and then you check the cameras and they're not even there. They're like partying somewhere else. Or
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys, are you starting at 7 because of the heat?
Oh yeah. It's terrible. Terrible. I mean, just a giant hot box.
What are you doing? Like, so it goes from 7 to
3
o'clock.
Yeah.
And like with an hour lunch, I guess.
Yeah. Some only take like 30 minutes, or they can stay as long as they want. But it's like, let's all get started early. The embroidery girls in the front, the store is 7 to 3 for sure. The back starts anywhere from 7 to 8, and they stay till they get their 8 hours. But it is so hot. We have the 2 dryers going, and we have just no airflow. We have 2 back dock doors, but it just, no matter how many fans we have, it just will not circulate around down back there.
Are you guys in Missouri or Kansas?
Missouri.
All right. We talked about that. We talked about that earlier. If you were in that Kansas City is in both states. Really
Kansas
fascinating.
City,
but
Kansas City, Missouri is where you want to go, not Kansas City, Kansas. You don't want to go.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing in Kansas City, Kansas. Unless you're going to racetrack.
So we've been like, our weather is probably pretty similar for the past few weeks, and it's just been crazy hot. Although today, I don't know if it happened to you. Today, it's only like 70 or in the 70s. It really cooled off. Like the storm came through and it made it better. But yeah, it's, we're fortunate that we have AC, and I even added 5 more tons for this year, just to take even a little more off. And I'm so glad that it did, because that's even like this past week, it was struggling a little bit. It was over 100 here outside, and I had people sending me, different shops sending me pictures of their thermostat, and there was one, they were in Texas, but it was like 105, in their shop. And I don't know how productive you can be, if at all,
Right.
really.
We had this discussion at Design Inc. when I was there a couple days ago in Utah, and it was 90. It's like 95 or 98 degrees outside. It was so hot. And then you went inside in the office and you're like, oh, obviously it's like air conditioning in the office.
Mhm.
And then you walk out in the shop and you're like, holy shit. Like they've got like, I don't know, like 10 dryers in there or something. And it was 75.
Really?
Yeah. The whole shop was like, comfortable. There were people in like jeans, like working and everything. It was just like, I was like, holy crap. Like I cannot. And they had, like, it was a big building, so they had like poles every so often for like the structure of the building. Every pole had like 2 fans on it. They had AC in the ceiling. They had fans on both sides of the building, like pushing and pulling and everything. It was just like, it was perfect in there. And I was
It's
like,
just so expensive. We spent a ton upgrading. We just moved into this building we're in right now in January. We just spent a ton on build out. So it's like, gosh, air conditioning needs to be the next thing, but it's expensive.
I know what it's
How big is it?
10,000 square feet. And then
So
minus
it's like the
front,
size of
it's air-
ours.
Yeah, and it's 20-foot ceilings, probably about the same as what you got there. And I mean, I'm sure your electric bill reflects it's expensive to cool all that.
Yeah, right now when we have all I think it's like 60 tons of AC when it's just on all day, like it really doesn't shut off to keep it, because we're in the 75-degree range too. And to keep it there, we range right now, we're 12,000 square feet. Our power bill is between like maybe $2,500 to $3,000.
Oh, that's not bad, because
That isn't bad.
our electric was $1,400 last month just to air condition the front. So I told our office girls, I was like, I have to sweat my ass off back in the back, and I had to pay $1,400 for you two to be cold.
Yeah, they complain about it being cold up there. I'm like, don't say that kind of stuff when the other employees are out there.
Okay, so maybe for $1,000 more dollars, I know that doesn't include equipment and everything, but power bill, $1,000 more dollars, divide that out on, 5 days a week, 4 weeks, 20 days. Is it worth it? For just to keep people like they're just way more comfortable? I say yes. I know that it is. I think that I don't think we could retain everybody here really. I think they would just say, look, I just can't do it. It's just way too hot.
Yeah.
And also I think it preserves certain equipment way better. It makes our lives way easier in the screen room and everything like that. So
Yeah, I agree. Our screen room is really not that bad. We have the humidifier and a fan, and it's not too bad. But oh my gosh, everyone's got what they call the frog things around their neck and everything else. Do you have a trash girl?
she's bored. I get it.
Yeah. We got like 3 hours of this one.
So I guess give us a rundown on how you guys got started. How did this whole thing come about?
Oh boy. Well,
I had a dumb question one day. I just retired from Kansas City Fire Department after 27 years. About 15 years in, I asked her one day, I was like, one day when I retire, I'm thinking about maybe getting something started or, doing something just to maybe hobbyish money, whatever, just to do something to keep me busy on my days off. What do you think would be good? Something besides the stuff I already know. Like, I kind of know how to do some woodworking and lay tile and things like that. I don't really want to stick with anything like that.
That doesn't sound like a hobby. Laying tile does not sound like something
Right.
for fun.
She says, maybe you should get an embroidery machine. She had done that kind of work before in other businesses that she had. And she said, maybe I can get some of my old customers back from St. Louis area, actually. And I was like,
easy to steal from St. Louis. There's not many good players there.
right. And I was like, that sounds interesting. And so here came that first head, and then all of a sudden there was 3 heads. And then
What were you doing before where you were involved with embroidery?
Oh, I had a uniform store in St. Louis. We did like the new hires for the Sheraton, the Marriott, the Renaissance, like hotels. We did food and hospitality uniforms. Then we got hooked up with like US Food and did their uniform program. Then one thing led to another, and it just like when I moved back to Kansas City, and I wasn't going to do that anymore. I was just going to do web-based stuff. And he's like, well, what can I do to help, or what can I do to make extra money? I'm like, oh God, like this is a terrible cycle to get into. Like you never get out. Once you're in this textile world, you never get out of it. He's like, yeah. So we get a milk.
You'd kind of already had an in and some knowledge on it then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I was subcontracting to Terry at St. Louis Print. I was doing embroidery, but we never did in-house screen printing. I contracted to Terry. And then I moved to Kansas City, and I still continued to do the same thing when he decided he wanted to do that.
I talked to Terry quite a bit. He's got a really nice, it seems like always growing contract shop here in St. Louis. It's contract only. I want to say he probably has like 10 autos or so or something like that.
Seven. Yeah, we were just there not too long ago. He is, I always said when I grow up, I want to be just like Terry. I mean, his head is so level. He's so, anytime something goes cattywampus, I'm like, what would you do? And he's like the rhyme to the reason. Like, wow. Yeah, he's just so smart where I'm oh my God, what do I do? Yeah, he's really, I really like him. I've always liked him a lot.
So you got the single head embroidery, and then what happened?
Yeah. Then another one.
Then we needed two more. So then we had.
But what were you? So you were still doing the business in Kansas. You were just subbing it all out, and then you just started doing it in house again.
Right, and then we were just doing embroidery. So with Joe being on the fire department, a lot of firehouses do embroidery jobs, and so we would take those jobs, and they would come to our house and pick their stuff up. So at any particular time, we would have rigs out front of our house in our neighborhood. Like, oh my God, they're gonna think we're doing something real bad over here. So it's like, we cannot stay in the house and do this. Well, we did. We got a
screen. We finally decided we were going to do screen printing in house.
Got a workhorse.
Yeah, got a manual, six color manual. That little setup. Tore down some walls of a bedroom in the basement that was adjacent to the storage room. And so we had 3 embroidery heads and a 6 color manual set up down there,
unit,
washout booth and everything. You know, we were shooting until I got in there, and then we had one person that started to help us. I mean, I learned to screen print, like YouTube taught me how to screen print, basically. Who
was your go-to YouTube?
I just all of them. I didn't have a favorite. If there was just a certain thing I needed to know, I would type that in and watch it. You know? Well,
we always like to ask because it's the war between Catspit and Ryan are usually like the two go-tos.
Oh, okay. But this was what, 2011-ish, probably.
I think when you go back that far, it's those two. Now it could be Lee Stewart.
Yeah, there's like 100 of them now.
Yeah, there's so many more.
I'll just Cam a lot. But that led to that. And then we got a little small shop not too far from our house. It was like 900 square feet. So we're like, okay, this is going to be great. No one's coming to the house anymore. And we were only there for 9 months, broke our 3-year lease, still had to pay those other 2 years and 3 months because
why were you only there for 9 months?
Because we needed more space, like immediately.
Yeah.
So we go and we get another spot. It was 1,500 square feet. We're like, this is huge. We're never going to need any more space here.
Can I ask real quick what? Because I feel like I've known a couple people where this has happened to, where they kind of tried to move shops and then spend all the time and money and everything to move, and then find out that, oh, this is way less space than I thought. Correct. Did you guys try to do any kind of like preemptive shop layout to see like how it was all going to fit and what room you would have left over? Or are you just like, this looks good, and just kind of threw all the stuff in there?
No, I found a place that we could afford, and I'm like, oh, look, we could afford this. It was, I don't even know, like $1,100.
That was my guess. I mean, because it's so scary going from your house where you have zero rent, right? And and when you're at your house, you can share the water and share the internet and share everything. And all of a sudden you have this spot, and you have all these other utility bills and everything like that. And so you think to yourself, oh wait, I can do the 900 square feet or whatever. Yeah. And so you're conservative about it. And I think that's smart, because you don't want to, it's smart on one hand because you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. But on the other hand, it's like, like 900 feet, you just fill that up probably on day one. It's just like you move in there, you're like,
we did. But then when we went to the 1,500 square feet, we're like, oh man, this is great. There's an office and there's an embroidery area and there's a dock door. Like, this is great.
We're so excited. We're like, I can fit another manual in here. So we bought a second manual for us.
Yeah. And then we were only there for 9 months, but our same complex that we were in. So I talked to the landlord. I'm like, this is just not working out. We're way busier than we thought we were going to be. So another spot, 5,200 square feet, a couple doors down was available. So then we're at $3,000 a month. And then we're really like, holy cow, this is crazy. What are we going to do? But we had to. So I describe it as like when you get in, when we were all kids and they had the little pills and you get in the bathtub and they blew up to be a dinosaur. Like that's what I feel like happened to us. It like became this big washcloth. And we couldn't fit in 5,200 square feet eventually. So we ended up getting an auto and then another auto 6 months later. And that took us to the end of this lease.
And then now we're at 20 heads of embroidery at the same time. You know, that kept growing also. And we're just tripping over each other in that 5,200 square feet.
People were delivering pallets. Like we had 2 dock doors. Only one was usable because we needed one for the airflow, one for stuff. And then it was no longer UPS dropping off boxes. Then people were, can you receive pallets? Well, I guess we can. We'll figure it out.
This seems like a lot of rapid growth from house to, you know, you said in 9 months, which to me, like to the average person, you think 9 months, you're like, okay, yeah, I could see that. But to me as a business owner, 9 months goes by so fast.
Yes.
Like years fly by. I feel like I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe, like even now it's like, it's going to be what, month 7. I feel like I just paid my taxes for last year. Like,
Yeah.
So I feel like 9 months is fast to be like, I moved into this place. Now I have to move all my stuff again. And then you moved to another place, got an auto, and then got another auto, what, 6 months later?
No.
Yeah, we got the first one in January of 17 and another one in November 17.
So right.
What do you think?
Well, I was going to say, like, why the rapid growth? Like, what were you guys doing? What were you into industry wise that was getting you that much business to move?
We're a
that
union
fast?
print shop. So union print shops are minimal in our area. And our primary focus was labor unions, political campaigns, fire departments, that kind of stuff. It's just word of mouth.
Okay.
We haven't done any advertising at this time.
I would love to dive into the union print shop thing. If you guys are cool with talking about that.
Oh, for sure. We've been union printers. I actually joined CWA in St. Louis when I was doing uniforms. So that would have been back in 2006, 7, 8. And then I moved to Kansas City and stayed in CWA. So all of our employees, from the person that answers the phone to the person that ships the stuff out the door, everybody's a member of CWA 6360. And
so what do they have to do that? See, like I'm going from like, I don't know at all what you're talking about to let's like walk me through the process of like why.
A union print shop just kind of puts guidelines on our labor. It just says we are going to abide by the labor law. I mean, everybody abides by labor laws, but just the way we treat our employees and the pay scale. Like anybody that comes in our shop, the minimum $17 an hour. Our printers make 22. The scale is just a little bit higher.
So is it set? So your compensation scale is already set by the union?
Not really. They don't. They just want to make sure that you're doing fair.
As long as we're above a certain
scale
threshold, then they're fine with whatever we do. But,
Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't be okay with us paying minimum wage.
And your team, they pay dues every out of your.
Yeah, we actually
pay it for them
dues.
so that nobody's out.
Well, that was going to be my question, because like if I was like, oh, I want to make a union print shop so I can get union jobs, my staff would be like, go fuck yourself. Like they're not gonna pay dues.
Yeah,
right.
We pay it for them,
and that's why we pay it.
Right. Well, that's what I'm getting at is you guys are taking
them,
on.
It doesn't really matter as much as it should.
Right.
But to us, it does.
Right.
And
No, I mean, it
like
makes sense.
I feel like there's shops that cheat that system. And they'll have one person that's union or something like that,
right?
And call themselves union. I think I've been up against that sort of stuff before, and so I don't know. I think that's super unfair because you want to be competitive. I think it's, and also I hate that like being deceitful about that stuff. And so because we have fire departments approach us all the time. In fact, you can see the fire department that services us from here. Yet I don't print for them. I can't.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Literally, my street is made up of 2 big industrial buildings. One is mine, and directly across the street is a union, like a union hall that does training.
Right.
And they send all their print work to Albany because I'm not a union shop.
Right. And we are licensed at the international level for like the International Association of Firefighters, the UAW, Teamsters, CWA. So we took it to the next level. So while we are union printers here in the metro area, which just means that we are going to print on American made goods,
Right.
our labor will be union. And we also get a little bug through the Allied printing that you have your design and then at the bottom, put this little bug on it. Well, any political campaign or labor union, they look for that bug to make sure that scab labor did not print those goods. And we have that bug.
So what does it take to get into it, I guess? Because you kind of said that you're a member of this thing and you pay dues. What do those fees look like? And what does it entail, like getting involved? Is it like this lengthy process to get done or?
We pay $50 an employee per month. And they just fill out a membership card. With their membership card, they get like discounts on their cell phone. They get $1,000 life insurance policy. Not too many benefits. It just kind of holds us accountable for fair treatment and them.
If they had a grievance of some type with us, if we, were violating some type of labor law, so they could go to the union and file a grievance against us and, work that out through like an arbitration type setting.
Mm-hmm. So it's worked out really well then.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And there aren't very many of us. I mean, we go up against, I guess there's one or two in St. Louis. There's not very many in the metro.
Well, that's
area.
what I was going to say is I don't know of any around me at all. So, and we've tried to, I haven't dove into it that far, obviously, but I've looked at it before. Like, I think the first time it got triggered was when we had the union across the street try to work with us and we found out that they could only work with the union.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what does it entail to actually like get it to where we can be a union shop? And now those rules of, like you said, like using American made goods and all that stuff, that's only for the places that want to order from you that are unions, or you do that for everything?
No. See, it's kind of a double-edged sword on that because our union bug follows our workmanship. So we can put our bug on just about anything because it follows our labor. It just says, here's our stamp. We're union laborers and we printed this good. But historically, it goes on American made goods. And that is the only thing that we print our bug on is the American made goods. And even sometimes the labor unions will tell us not to put on it because it doesn't go with the design. Like,
well, that's what I was going to ask you. Is that you just put it on, or do you have to ask them if it's okay, or
we do.
Is it just kind of?
But most during the thing is like, don't forget the bug, is what they'll say.
It's funny.
That's a non-thing. But we still print general business. Obviously, we're contractors, so people will use us for our third-party printer because we're doing the labor. So sometimes we get contract work in from labor unions that we didn't get directly.
So if I wanted to get the job from the guys across the street, I could technically take the job, farm it out to you, and then it would count?
Yes.
I mean, if that was okay with them, if you said,
well, I don't see why not. I mean, it was getting printed in a union shop. I'm just saying that.
We would just give you our contract prices and you would say, I'm contracting through a union shop. They're members of Allied Printing. Their bug number is 11. And that's how you can find out who is close to you that's in the labor union, printing labor union, is go to Allied Printing and look it up.
What is it called? Allied Printing?
Allied, ALLIED. And you can look up the label numbers by, where are you at, New Jersey?
New York.
You can look up New York and find out all the companies next to you.
That's cool.
But there aren't very many. I mean, maybe a couple hundred nationwide.
That's what I mean. That's not very many at all.
It's a good gig. We don't have to advertise at all. It's word of mouth because like you get one Teamster local and you do a really good job with them. They all go to convention every year.
Right.
Like we use this little print shop in Kansas City, and I mean, our business has grown organically. We haven't done any ads ever.
Actually, a billboard one time,
and he thought it was the dumbest thing ever.
And it did produce a really good customer. Yeah, I had to eat crow on that.
Yeah. But outside of that, and that was just because some salesperson came trying to sell billboard advertising. I'm like, well, that'd be kind of cool.
Now, does being a union shop and having these like a little bit higher pay scales and all these other things that you have to do, is that affecting your pricing compared to the rest of the market? Like, are you higher because you're a union shop, or are you feel like you're pretty competitive with everybody who's not?
I feel like we're extra competitive because our main competitor here in Kansas City is our best salesperson, because they're so high that people, once they found us, they're like, oh my gosh, we've been paying $70 for this for the past 20 years. We didn't make that $2 an hour or whatever the price differences affect. We take it on our side. Like, we don't have to make the money these other shops are making. Yeah, we all want to make money, but we don't take it out. Make ourselves not competitive.
But the labor unions, they're not shocked that their shirts are a little more. I mean, they know the American-made goods are going to be more expensive. They know,
right. That's what I mean. Like,
so they're, I mean, they expect that where they work, to make a little more because they have union representing them. So they're not shocked when they use union labor to produce something on American-made goods. It's going to be a little higher. So the pricing with them is never really an issue. But
it is higher though, because a Bayside T-shirt is going to cost you almost $7 now, and a Gildan is going to cost you $2.30, whatever it is.
Right.
It is quite a bit different, but
I've never had someone who comes to me asking for American-made goods bat an eye at what the price is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they usually know.
They want what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're so minimal. Like, we back in 2000 and we did the first shop, 2013, there were probably 20 USA made vendors out there for anything we would want. Now there's 5. And one of them's getting bought out by a big, huge manufacturer here shortly. So people don't start remanufacturing in the area. Like, our CMR rep was just in the other day, and he told us that their Volunteer, Kentucky location is going to start making some of their Port Authority things in American made. So I'm like, whoa, that's awesome to hear.
So are you running into supply chain issues with your American made goods right now?
Oh yeah. A lot of the things we sell are navy blue, because that's what most fire departments wear, navy blue. And for the longest time, months and months and months, 6-8 months, there was no like navy blue extra large t-shirts. And you can't go explain to the customer that we don't have them.
Right.
They're like, why don't you have them? Like, there aren't any to be found.
Well, the thing is with the supply chain issues with not made in America stuff or anything, it's just like you usually can find something to sub it out.
Right.
But if you only have 5 options,
right,
what do? You just tell them we'll wait until they come in?
Yeah, they'll wait. Because you get a Bayside 5100, which is like the 100% cotton short sleeve duty shirt that we do. But there's also a 1701. Well, fire departments can't have a 50-50 shirt. They have to have 100% cotton. So we can't like even sub 50-50 for 100% cotton. So they are locked in. And if you explain it to the customers, they understand.
Right. I feel like the world understands at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have, I just bid, we're on the bid list for our city, for a lot of cities around in our county. We're on the bid list for our city. I just bid on, I want to say it was probably like 700 shirts and the order is not due until I want to say late September or October. But I was looking at the inventories because they want a specific color in this kind of stuff. And so I looked at the inventories and it's shit for like large and extra large. But and across like almost every brand, it's shit. And so I went ahead and submitted. And the way to do that is just go ahead and submit. Which is a little bit scary because it's like a 10, 12 page, you've probably done some of these. It's a 10 or 12 page bid. It's very official and you have to sign this kind of thing and promise to deliver these goods. Yet, who knows even if the inventories were there right now, they may not be in September. Right. And so I saw that they weren't there and I'm just like crossing both my fingers thinking like, okay, well, I'll watch it. If I win this bid, I'll know here in the next couple of weeks, I'll buy up whatever there is now, sit on it, and then watch for the larges and extra larges. That's the only thing to do. And then when I cross that, I guess the bridge, when I get to there, if there aren't, if they don't have it, I'll just have to let them know. It's just so tough right now because that's a bid that I bid on every year and I won it. I want to win it. Yeah. And what am I supposed to say? Oh, hey guys, sorry that, I may not be able to supply you the shirts. Well, then why would they choose me?
Right. And we've had the uniform program with city of Kansas City for the fire department and police department for the past, this is year 5. But a lot has changed from that initial bid that we got in 2018. You place an order, you get your order. Now, 2021, 2020, I mean, it's like, sorry guys, we can't get you any shorts. They've been on back order since September of last year. I mean, short size 34 and 36 shorts that we ordered in September of last year will not be in until July 7th of this year. They have to wait for those because that's what's spec'd in the.
Yeah, and maybe they'll be there July 7th.
Right. It's gotten backed up a couple times since then.
We just canceled one of the Teamsters local wanted 400
safety vests.
Safety vests.
And 3M can't get the safety tape.
They can't get the safety striping tape from 3M, so they can't make the vest. And it's the only American-made option that was available.
Right.
And so the order just had to be canceled because they couldn't take anything for a substitution. It's crazy.
Fun times.
I get the whole thing of like labor and the reason why I guess there's not a lot of American made items when it comes to that kind of stuff. But it's kind of sad to think about that. Like you just mentioned, those vests is the only option.
Yeah. I mean,
like what the hell? Like why?
Hat.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, why? Like, and it's just frustrating, I guess. So like,
No,
think
there's
about
not.
it.
Unless somebody decides they want to open up a factory and go all in the United States, which nobody's doing. We're kind of at a standstill.
Yeah, it's rough.
Bummer. But that would be a problem that you would fight right now if you decided to unionize and
Right.
go that route.
So we talked about you went from the house to the small shop to the bigger shop, and then what happened next?
Now we're in our bigger shop.
Even bigger.
Yeah, now we're in the 10,000 square feet, which talking to industry people, they're like, you should have done 3 times what you needed. The second we moved everything in, because now we have 4
To the new one?
Yeah. So we move over in January. We have 4 autos now, 2 dryers, 20 heads of embroidery, and a bunch of pallets and boxes of incoming freight. And then we're like, oh my gosh, where are we going to put the next incoming?
That's the problem. See, that's the problem that I have is that I have enough room for my equipment and my people, but I don't have room for shit when it comes to moving inventory around.
Yeah.
Just
Like I just don't. So what I did is I bought 2 semi-trailers. So now, and I built a deck out to them. So basically when something comes in shipping, receiving, it immediately goes into the trailers to be stored until that job is ready, because shipping, receiving doesn't have room for pallets. Out by the presses don't have room for pallets. So like that's the other thing too, the efficiency of the shop. People are always like, oh, well, pre-cart your day's worth of apparel so that the press operators only have to grab a cart. I don't have room for carts.
Yes. And we do that. So we have a whole wall just filled with probably 4 days usually of stuff. And it some days is chaotic. Like just put them over there, move some up front, do whatever. I just did not think going from 5,200 to 10,000 just since January, in 7 months, we would be like, oh my God, what do we do? We're 6 years. We got 6 years on this lease here. What are we going to do?
When that consultant told us, no, you should get 15 or 20,000 square foot. I thought he's crazy because I just went in there and looked at that 10,000 square feet. It was completely gutted and empty. And I was like, this is more room than we would ever need. And then as soon as all that equipment showed up, I was like,
But I think that's the thing that people don't think about is you look at it and you're like even if you mapped it out, you could be like, okay, the dryers are going to go here, press is going to go here, press is going to go here, all this other stuff. You're like, yeah, it all fits and there's room to move around and all this other stuff. Realistically, you should have like another quarter or another half of your shop just empty. Just leave the shit empty.
right.
Because you're gonna need to move stuff around and place stuff and like also, right. But I'm saying you should just have that empty space.
I've always said you need at least 1,000 square feet per auto for just box storage before you print and then after you print. Because how often we have customers that will print their orders, but it'll sit here a week,
right.
before
I'm not talking like shipping receiving area. I'm talking just empty ass space to like move pallets around. Or you get a job that comes in that's like, I don't know, 5,000 hoodies or something. It's like, do you know how much room 5,000 hoodies takes up? Like 24 hoodies to a box.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's a lot of boxes. And like, you find out real fast that it's like, okay, the only thing we can do in my shop is like print a pallet's worth, like front and back, get it out, and then do the next pallet instead of being like, all right, well, let's do all the fronts and then all the backs and move them around. No, we can't. We literally have to do like a pallet's worth, get it out, do a pallet's worth, get it out.
Yeah, because you have a couple thousand feet for your gaming.
Oh yeah, obviously.
So
yeah, cartwheels and all that stuff.
maybe you should move.
I'm just saying, like,
and
we're trying to say right now on the show that if you're listening to this and you're thinking about moving spaces, get a lot more room.
Yes.
Yeah, more than what you think.
More than what you think.
And it's still not enough.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a customer getting ready to drop off 230 cases of goods that need to be embroidered. And so far they brought a van full and it was only like 40. I'm like, oh my gosh, if this is only 40, where are we going to put the rest of this stuff?
Right. And then, like Andy said, what happens if they don't want to pick it up right away?
They don't need it till the end of July. So we have to palletize it, stick it in a corner somewhere. Then we'll have to like climb over it to get.
Yeah, where's this magical corner that you speak of?
I have actually couriered for free orders just to get them out of my shop, to make space. It didn't matter that it cost me whatever it was, $60 or something like this, $80. Just get it out of the shop because it's overwhelming. Like when you continue to get boxes in, and then you can't get rid of them, it's stressful.
It makes our printers stressed. They're looking at the stuff like, oh my gosh, it's never ending. And then their stress level goes high.
Yeah,
that is true. That's something you don't think about, is that if you have, and that's definitely a real thing, because I've had it before where we just line up stuff. I feel like the mood in the shop changes because they're just like, oh, I got to do that job. It's going to take forever.
Right.
When in reality, when they actually get printing, it's not that bad. But just looking at it and knowing it's coming up is like, they just are dicks for a couple days.
One of our old printers, I used to say, we just need like a magic curtain that covers all the carts if he doesn't see what's
Right.
back there.
Yeah, he used to hate seeing stuff. It was
Stress him out.
Right.
Shouldn't it be job security though? Like
Yeah,
you would think that.
be like, hey, look, I got a solid job here.
Dude, I say that all the time, but I'm also not the one printing it either. So like I get that. And that's a huge thing in shops too, is that like it's the lifestyle, I guess, is of a printer of like, if you have a shop that's just doing like 100-piece orders, 50-piece orders, even a 500-piece order, they're doing, 5 to 10 a day jobs or whatever. And it's like, they like that because they get the breaks and the change zones and they're looking at different garments. But when you're like, hey, you got to do 15,000 8-color job, like a job, they're like, cool. Well, I get to look at this shirt for like a week.
Right.
And like, it's just so monotonous. You know what I mean? Like, even though they're doing it correctly, like it's just the same thing all day long. And it's just like, it's so draining. It's not the same as like, oh, I did 100 pieces. Cool. Let me go like do something slightly different or like take the screens down or do this. It's like, no, they hate it.
We try to break it up for them, but yeah, like you said, sometimes can't be done.
Yeah, like a lot of times I'm on the, she runs the day-to-day everything. And then I'm more production oriented. So I'm kind of the production manager, if you will, out there. And sometimes I print and stuff too, but I'll leave some of the printers. I know if they had a job that they were working on and it was kind of giving them problems, either just things not, having trouble with registry or whatever. When I go pluck the next job for them to do, I'm like, okay, here's 200 shirts, one color black print, just
Right.
kind of like, here's something to come down on, just to mellow you out a little bit from that last job, because I can see when they get frustrated, they can't get something just right.
We had that last year with an employee that's no longer here, where he was running the gauntlet, and it was like on the gauntlet, he was pretty much doing nothing but like 8 to 10 color prints all day long. Like every job on his side of the schedule was some complicated sim process, like 10 color job. And he would like get frustrated once in a while because, shit happens, like stuff doesn't line up, or, he had to remix a couple colors because it's sim process and you have to do those kind of things. He would come in and be like, what do I got to do for you to get like a 1-color vintage print? Like, you just fucking throw me a bone, please.
I try to do that. I try to be conscious about that.
And then I started doing that. Like, no joke. Cause I'm the one who organizes the schedule for the week. And I'm like, okay, this press is doing this and whatever. And it's like, I started like literally throwing them bones. I was like, all right, like here's a 300 single color vintage print or something.
Yeah.
Even though I wanted that on another press, cause it would have been easier to do, I'm giving it to them because I know they're like, it's a break time basically.
Yeah, it is. And usually those are my jobs I'm giving away there, because I'll go fire up a press. do a couple jobs a day just to help everything keep flowing, while I'm.
But you're doing the easy jobs. You're picking and choosing.
I'm grabbing those one color black prints all day long.
Yeah, we had another guy before years ago who worked here that I had to fire for whatever long story reason. But he would do that. He would get here first in the morning. And the reason why he would get here first is he would reorganize the schedule that day. When he got in, and he would pull the easy jobs that he wanted to his side, and he would move stuff from his side to the other side.
His person.
So, and then on top of that, to like be a super dick, he would always say at the end of the day, like every day, like, "Oh, I got like 12 jobs done, and you only got 4 jobs done." Yeah. It's like, yeah, you did nothing but one colors all day long.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, that's why you don't work here anymore. That's basically what it boils down to.
Right. The guy that we had a printer that we had to let go after being there for a short period of time.
Oh, this is great.
I never had an employee tell me this before, but he would smoke probably 15 minutes out of every hour, would be out back smoking. So, I'm like, okay, trying to explain to him. I was like, hey, why don't we, take a 15-minute break in the morning for a smoke break, have one in the afternoon, do whatever you do at lunch. And then, if I need you at the press, like we have to be, producing. And so I go to the screen room, talk to somebody about something. I come back, he's not there. I'm like, okay. So I text him, where'd you go? And he gives me this big long text. But long story short, he says, I was a cool dude and everything, and nothing against me, but he just doesn't think it's a good fit because he likes to work at his own pace. I was like, well, you're not getting paid by the shirt. You're getting paid by the hour. I never had an hourly employee tell me, I just like to work at my own pace. I mean, it's not like we're out there slave driving people faster, but
Maybe from another print shop, somebody knows what he was doing there.
Well, probably that. That's probably why he was looking for a job.
So you guys moved into the space you're in now. How's things going? Are you guys happy with like you're good? You're on cruise control, or are you now like, shit, I need more space and we're going to buy another auto or do this or do that?
Shit, I need more space. Because for some reason.
We're not moving again. I don't care.
I can tell by the look in your eyes, his eyes, that he's like, fuck this. And you're like, it's happening, whether you like it or not.
The yin and yang, totally. Like I'm a jump then look person, and he is a let's plan this out, get a spreadsheet, make all these things. I'm like, no, let's do it.
She's just like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's charge type of thing. But we have so many opportunities for some reason. Like we could do everything we're doing right now on 10,000 square feet. We could have done it in our 5,000 square feet, but for some reason, the bigger shop legitimized us, and people are calling us from all over the place, like wanting to do business. Larger companies like, oh, well, you wouldn't even talk to us last time. Now they want to come do site visits and they want to do all this stuff. It's like, it's weird that the illusion a larger space creates is like a real thing.
Well, I think it works a lot of ways. One, it helps you recruit and retain a team because, like people start coming to you to work there because now you're not just, like before you were out of your garage and you were even a little bit bigger, but at a certain point, you're like, for whatever reason, you have enough people there that it's just easier for us to hire. That's one thing. And then also when customers come through here, it is pretty, or it's more impressive now when they think that, well, you can handle my, my work. I think though that, for every shop though, and it's one of the questions that we always ask, 2 autos or 10 autos, you're in between, you have 4 right now. Yeah. But, is it, there just comes a point where you have to decide if you're big enough because I think that I was listening to Bertavo's podcast and this guy, Jeffrey Paul, was on. I thought it was really, really interesting. I think that if you haven't heard it, you should check it out because I think he was pretty accurate. I think that a lot of shops you can start and then hit $1 million. Like if you have some common sense and some hard work, you hit that $1 million mark and eventually, right? Then to go from to let's say $1 million to 3 million is a whole nother level, and you have to bring on different practices. You have to make sure you have an accountant and an attorney and HR and or at least HR assistants, a banker, all this sort of stuff, right? Then 5 million is this other level. And are you making more than you were when you were at 3 million? And then it's like a whole different thing. And then it's just almost this limbo land of, wait a second, until you get to a certain amount, which who knows what that is. Maybe let's just say 10 million. I think that's what he said. And that's a hard struggle to go from, 4 or 5 to 10, because now all of a sudden you're like this enterprise business where you have a ton of employees, maybe 100, who knows, and all this square footage. And did you like it better when you were, in 5,000 or 10,000 square feet, let's say, with 4 autos? I don't know. That's just tough. And then is it too late? All of a sudden you have 30,000 square feet and 10 autos. And is it too late to go back to what you were? Or maybe it's great. Maybe you love it. I don't know. I think that's just the hardest thing, I think, for shops, is because personally, I could be double the size I am right now. We say no to a lot. We say no to a ton of work. And we specialize in a certain amount of work. And I could turn up the volume on one particular customer, and they send me a lot of work now, but they could send me 10 times what they send me. It's basically unlimited, but I don't want it. I don't want to do that much work. And because I want to go home at 5 and I don't want to work on the weekends, and I don't want people here to be working on the weekends. And I don't want to have to, I know I could have a second shift, but I don't want that complication of having a second shift. And because I know I'll get a phone call at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or something. So I think those are really hard decisions for businesses, or for entrepreneurs, and especially hard when it's a husband and wife team or a partnership or something like that, when one person maybe wants to grow and one doesn't. So I don't know.
I could voice my displeasure with something, but that doesn't mean anything. So it's still going to happen.
Good answer. Hey, good answer.
My lot in life. It's okay.
Well.
I just deal with it.
But he's already done his career. He's done an entire career in 27 years. He's retired now. Hasn't stayed home and done nothing for one day since November when he retired.
So I don't know why you keep saying retired. You're not fucking retired in any way.
Well,
he has his fireman's. You have your fireman pension, right? Yeah. You could basically retire, but
right. He could be sitting at home doing nothing, golfing or whatever it is.
I'm not a sit-home type though. That was never something that
I'm not either
for me that I was looking forward to. I just want to retire and sit home and do nothing. I'm not that type of person.
I think you would have a miserable life. I think that people that think that that's great, hey, I'm going to retire and I'm going to do nothing, sip pina coladas on the beach or whatever. I think that'd be awesome for a few weeks. And then all of a sudden you'd be
that's a vacation.
Man.
We took a Monday off one time, not too long ago, about a month ago. And we're like, okay, we're going to take Monday off and we're going to go look for furniture. And then we're going to go have lunch. So we go to Nebraska Furniture Mart, we look for furniture, we go have lunch, we come home, it's 4 o'clock, and we're like, now what do we do? We had nothing to do. The day was still full and we had nothing to do.
When I sit around and not do anything and actually watch TV or just slum around all day is when I'm sick.
Yeah.
Not on a normal day. I can't.
You must be
sit there
sick a lot. Huh.
Fuck you, Andy.
But I think that's a really important point. And I think that that's half the problem with a lot of people in this country, or maybe this world, is that, you have to have, I think, first of all, you have to do something that you enjoy doing, or that at least you get something out of. And then you have to be doing something. If you can't, and I don't mean that it has to be for 10, 12 hours a day or even 8 hours a day. You just have to, I think we are as human beings designed to work and to do something, and then to feel accomplished at the end of that day. And then, I don't know, go home and have a cheeseburger or something and be grateful for that.
With our girls at the shop, they're 21 and 22. I mean, I've asked them all the time, is this where you're going to be? Are you guys got any plans? What are you going to do? No, this is what we love. This is what we're going to do. So now in my mind is I do all the sales. So it's I had to keep the momentum going so that when we do get out, it's set up enough. So that's a little thing that I've got in my head too. I got to get this thing on autopilot. And I know the girls are completely capable, but no one yet knows how to move the money and do the purchasing and all the strategy, the chess game that I play all day long, making the day pass by. So those are things that they're still going to have to learn. Hopefully we're not going anywhere soon. I don't think. We are getting kind of old.
But it's good. I feel just from hearing what you're talking about, I feel like you're instilling those things in with your kids. You know what I mean? Like they want to be at the shop, they want to be working, they like what they do. I have younger kids and I'm kind of fighting that. Like how much do I push them to, you know, be passionate about stuff and get up and do stuff and make sure you're not just like being a lump. You know what I mean? Like I feel like my son's super into tech stuff and video games and all this other stuff, but it's like, do I let him keep doing that? Because you can't really get out and be active and do all this other stuff while you're doing those kind of things. Or do I just say, okay, you can do this for half the day and the other half the day you have to get your ass up and like do all this other stuff?
That tech's where it's at.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's the hard part is you see these kids that are like his age, they're like millionaires because they're doing this shit. And you can't say anymore like, oh, rot your brain. They're never going to get anywhere. Yeah. And it's like that dude,
hurting your retinas.
My son right now knows more about computers in his room than I know about computers now. And it's like, what if when he's 20, he gets to go work at some massive tech company and he's like a millionaire? Right. And I was trying to get him to go outside and like rub sticks on the ground. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, how do you do that? And I feel like in your case, you know what I mean? You had the kids at the shop and they're working and now they're like into it and love it. And
yeah, you know, my son that's 27, I did the same thing. So he used to be in the basement all the time. And I'm like, Dominic, get off that game. Get up here right now. We're not playing the game anymore. Go outside. And now we have a 9-year-old together and she's on YouTube all the time making videos. She's got 1,200 subscribers and some videos that have 100,000 views and stuff. And I'm like, keep going, girl.
Right. It's funny because like all growing up, I was the like nerdy one in the house, like on the computer, like doing something like, and I always like stayed in my room and like drew pictures and like did art and stuff. My brother is like the opposite. Like he is very like, you know, I work on small engines and I'm outside and I'm doing this and doing that. And my dad is kind of like that too, where he's very hands-on, does like woodworking and stuff, but loves like outside and all this other stuff. And I don't remember where we were. I was with my dad somewhere and recently, like within the last year, and some guy we knew from like when I was younger, like came up to us and, you know, my dad is very proud of me and like what I've done with the shop and all this other stuff. He loves being involved. And I just hearing him talk about me next to me to that guy. And that guy was like, oh, I remember you would always just be like in your corner on the computer. And my dad's like, yeah, well, look where that got him. You know what I mean? Like him doing everything he was doing, the art and the computer stuff back then is got him where he is now. And like, I'm super proud of him for like where he is. And it was just like, I don't know. It was just like, he didn't mean for it to be like a pat on the back or something that would like stick in my mind, but it was like, you know, I was like, oh, hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you guys heard of, it reminded me of the show right now. Have you heard of Snowflake Mountain?
I just saw that today.
You actually saw an episode or saw?
No, I saw the preview. I was going to watch it on Netflix and I'm like, oh, I can't watch all these kids, these bratty old kids.
No. So what it's about is like, it takes a bunch of kids who sort of like what you were describing earlier, if they were just in the basement doing nothing, you know, no job, no school, no nothing. And they tell them, and the parents are in on it. They tell them that they're going to this resort for a reality TV show. And it turns out that they go to like this mountain and they're roughing it, you know? And we started watching the first episode and we're like, oh, I don't know, we can't do this, but it was a little bit funny, but, what a shock. Like some of these kids, they can't even take it. Like they cannot believe what they're up against. So I have a question. We are, you know, I've seen this talk a lot and I've gotten a lot of messages lately about slowdown, and we felt it a little bit on our retail end. We're getting our UPS is probably about half, towards the end of this last week, it started to taper off a little bit, and very typical. You know, we slow down right before the 4th and then maybe a week or so after, like July slowdown, you know? And so, but I got an interesting message and it was, hey, do you think that this is the typical, you know, July slowdown because it seems like maybe it came a little early, and, or is it possibly some recession, you know, that we're starting to feel, and they were a little anxious. In fact, they were like, I don't think we're going to hire anybody. Like we typically are hiring now still, but we're on a hiring freeze, that sort of thing. So Are you feeling, I know you have a niche thing you do because you're in the, which is really smart. You're in this, you print, you print for unions, but are you feeling any slowdown? And also Dylan, are you, and do you think it is just the typical right now, this happens before the 4th, or is it a little bit more than that?
Ours is kind of year round, so we don't really see the ups and downs like the January, June, and July ups and downs like most people do. See, we got slow 1 or 2 weeks in February, which was not normal historically. Usually it's January, but after that, I think we're yeah. I think.
But then we also we do a lot of contract work for some customers that, like you were saying, like we can dial them up and down. So, even when it's like some retail or whatever drops off, we're still able to, keep those presses running, albeit contract work versus
but I think we're
retail.
full this week, next week. I think our July is pretty full.
But we actually have a lot more capability than what we're doing right now. Like when we moved into the new place, we, bought a whole other set of equipment, 2 more autos and another dryer. And, we definitely always have 2 running every day, usually 3. But I'm just one of those people, like, I'm always like, well, what if this one breaks down? Like I need something else I can use right now. I always have extra power washers at the shop, extra this, extra that. Like it keeps me up at night that we only have one eye image. Like, what if this thing goes down? Like that, like things like that we still have our film printer and all that. We could do that in emergency, but
yeah. I can't stress that enough to people, is that you need to treat it like you're a fisherman and you have to have 2 of everything. Because if it breaks down, you're out in the middle of water. Like right. You don't have another one. So that's why it's the rule of 2 basically with everything.
And it happened recently with, I have a 10-color Sportsman that I let the battery go dead in the PCL and it lost its programming. So you turn it on, like you push buttons and nothing would happen that you were pushing the button for. You go to the print head, press print, nothing would happen. It wouldn't recognize the rear proxies. It would just, everything was a mess. Got the, the battery replaced, still same deal. It was too late. So I sent that in for programming. Then they wanted the display unit. I sent that in for programming. That was $500 a piece. And this process took, 2 months of sending stuff back and forth to M&R. And then finally they sent a tech down that, I don't know, he cleared the registries and some other stuff and boom, got it going again. But
that was our only press we've been in trouble.
Yeah. Had that been one of the, couple, 3 presses that I need going every day, all day, that would have been a bad deal.
Right. And to answer your question, Andy, yeah, it's slow. We've been slow.
You noticed it.
I'm not noticing it. I'm seeing it. It's here.
Since how, like a couple
well,
weeks ago?
Usually we're booked up a couple weeks, and as of the week that I left and came back, we are booked up right now, maybe like 4 days.
Mm.
So
you book up by how many jobs you take per day or how many screens you make per day?
Yeah, usually it's like, whatever, like 10 jobs per press per day. And then I just fill the schedule out knowing, from there, well, it's all kind of on turnaround too, but it's also like, I look at the presses, I'm like, okay, this press can handle this press can handle this. And then it gets built out to where usually comfortably we're like 2 to 3 weeks out. And then, like I said, if it slows down or something's weird with COVID or whatever is happening, I feel like the way I have to describe this when I talk to certain people, like friends in the industry, that we all call each other and talk about stuff. And I had this conversation with Tony a couple of days ago, and I was just saying this kind of like in 2020 or whatever it was, 2020 or 2021, we got slammed. We were like super busy. We were like 4 to 5 weeks out, like all summer, and we couldn't do anything to get caught up. We were just so busy and whatever. So the end of that year, basically, as a business owner, we all know this. We look at this year and we're like, okay, we need to do something differently so this doesn't happen next year. Like we need to get more efficiencies or get another press or do whatever we got to do so that we're prepared for this to not happen again and have a better turnaround. So I did that. I bought some more stuff to make things more efficient, and I hired like a couple more people to make sure things got done faster on press and everything. So the problem is I can't tell if we're just like super efficient now and we're crushing jobs, which I feel like we are. Like we're definitely doing more jobs now than we ever have. But that affects the schedule to where like I feel like we're too efficient now to where the amount of jobs we were taking before kept us like two weeks out. Now we're doing all that work in like half the time.
Well, then, I mean, I guess your answer is in your P&Ls. Like, are you
dollars?
Yeah, like so. If you're
no, I'm more profitable now than I've ever been. Like I think things are good. Like money wise, things are good, and everything's good. It's just that I want to make sure my employees have enough work. Like they have work to do. I don't like when they walk in and they're like, "Cool, I've only got 4 days worth of work to do. What do I do for the other day?
Just
or what
tell
am I
them
doing
to
for
slow
next
down.
week?"
Yeah, don't print as fast.
But that's the problem is it's like literally I had a conversation with Bill earlier and he's like, hey, we've been like crushing jobs and like, can I do more media stuff like during the day to like kind of like spread things out to make sure we're not doing things so fast? And it's such a weird request to get from an employee of like, hey, we're working too hard and too fast. Is there any way we can like do something else when we get done with our stuff? And it's like,
I think the perfect answer is, find a customer that you can print for on a regular basis and that you're able to turn that customer up when needed,
right, which is what I've been doing over the past 2 weeks is like contacting a couple people and being like, hey, I'll take on more situation. Stuff. Yeah, like I don't do contract. Like I always do. I direct a customer. Like I don't have any contract jobs. So now I've been talking to a couple of people. I'm like, hey, I think I might take on like a contractor to do that, like dial it up or dial it back or whatever. And it's like just to like fill gaps. So like I said, I'm in this weird area where I personally feel like, oh God, what's going on? And then I hear from like 10 friends of mine that are having the same issue where they're like, oh, it's slowing down. Or you asking this question makes me feel like, okay, it's not just me. But I just feel like whatever we're doing, our niche or whatever is kind of like dialed back. So when you asked that question, I felt it.
Like, I feel like it would be harder for us to tell, like with a lot of the contract work we do with one company, we do a lot of their quick turn stuff. So, like say the jobs that, maybe 10 of the jobs that we're going to print tomorrow, the garments will probably arrive at 9:30 tomorrow morning when UPS gets there, and the screens will be being made, the art's there, but the girl will be making the screens, at 6:00 tomorrow morning. So like, we almost have to wait that couple weeks and then see what happens, so for us, like to say, oh my God, it's slow is a more of an immediate thing than it is for you when you're looking 3 weeks out on your schedule.
Right. So that's what I mean. It's like, I'm looking at this week right now of saying like what jobs I have on the week, but in reality, the cause for this week was 2 weeks ago. Okay. You know what I mean? Like it was slow 2 weeks ago, which we didn't feel then because we still had another 2 weeks to catch up. Right. So now I'm feeling this slowness and I'm like, oh shit. But in reality, our sales dipped 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So a lot of our jobs don't, like that week's jobs show up just, a few days before,
right.
Like on our schedule. So it's like,
I have those obviously
to look out very far.
Right. Like I have rush jobs from certain customers, but like our general, someone walks in or calls and wants an order. It's like 10 to 15 business days.
Yeah, I used to be, and it used to even frustrate different people at the shop when, because I used to have a customer we printed just like that. Like we would literally get some jobs that day. I mean, and not just a little bit of shirt, not just a few shirts either, like a chunk of shirts, like sometimes 5 orders of 700 shirts each that we would receive that day and they would knock out the same day, and so sometimes like that sucks. And other times it's awesome, because what that does and what that customer did for us was the art was done and approved. The shirts, we didn't even check in. They just showed up here and we printed, and it bought us a little time to get caught up with other stuff. You know what I mean? And it pushed a few other jobs out to build out our schedule a little bit further. And so sometimes it's funny, people say, oh, I don't want, I never want to do rush jobs, or I don't want that sort of customer. But I think that really what it turns out to be is like a mix is really the best. Like some jobs that turn in a week, some jobs that turn in 3 weeks, some jobs that turn in a couple of days, like this mix of jobs, because sometimes we're waiting on shirts or we're waiting on art or whatever it is. And if we had something to print right now, just to plug in to production, it's perfect. Like it actually worked out really, really well. And so,
and that's something we're dealing with right now though, too, is like, I say we only have 4 days worth of work, but really we have probably a week and a half, but the other part that isn't the 4 days is just stuff that's not here yet. Like we had to order from 5 different distros, and then on one of these orders, like 10 items are on back order or whatever. It's like we have the jobs, we just can't do them. Like they're irrelevant to the printers because they're not marked as like here and ready to go.
At any particular time, our waiting for pieces carts are probably 15 deep. Like waiting for 2 things or 1 thing or 2 sweatshirts, whatever it is. Like
we used to have this like metal rack on the wall. You know what I mean? The standard, like you put invoices in there or whatever, to just pieces of paper, whatever, this organizer. Earlier in the year, Chris asked me if I could get one that was like 5 times the size. And it's because he keeps invoices in there that are like partially checked in. And it used to only ever be like 1 or 2 or 4 slips or whatever. Now it's like 50 slips.
Yeah.
That's true.
So yeah, I feel that pain. So I don't
know. I have 2 more things before we get to shop hack. And one is, of course, you have this mural that everybody should go check out their Instagram, because it has a really good time lapse of this mural happening. Could you tell us about how that came about, and is it done? I couldn't quite tell.
He's there right now. He's finishing up today. He, a local artist, he was at the DAC show in the T&J booth, and he was giving away a painting of like a guy pushing a squeegee. So we met him, and I just asked, I said, hey, do you ever do murals, like contract murals? Well, he called and we started talking, and he's like, I'm going to be in Colorado doing some murals for a little bit. So when I get back in town, I'll call you. Like, okay. Well, he was also shooting a Netflix series, and I told him our wall is 90 by 20. He could use the whole thing. What can we do? And he said, if you let me do whatever I want to do, choose the art, because like it has nothing to do with the print shop. It's just local Kansas City art.
Kansas City thing.
That's still cool though.
And bring my Netflix crew in, we'll kind of do it as like a trade. And I'm like, okay, deal. And so his Instagram is love_pulp, capital PULP. And he does great work all over the country. People hire him to do outside of silos, like big giant things. But the one that he's doing here, I guess he's doing a docu-series on Netflix. And so hopefully we'll get a little shop preview maybe. I don't know.
Awesome. That's super
But yeah,
cool.
he's super talented, self-taught. He's from Pittsburgh. He grew up in foster homes and in and out of jail for tagging on trains. And he's got a great story. His story will be really cool. Moved to Colorado, worked there, came to Kansas City, working here. Young kid, 35 years old, I think, but just super talented.
That's a young kid to us now.
You make me feel good.
35-year-old used to be an old guy. Now all of a sudden it's a young kid.
When you're sitting looking at 50, like real close, that's 35 young.
But that's cool though. It looks really good in the shop though.
Yeah, I can't wait till it finishes.
Yeah.
It's all Kansas City. There's who's on there? Arthur Bryant. There's a jazz player.
Andy Reid.
Salvador
Perez.
Disney. Walt Disney was from Kansas City.
Some of the Skyline. Yeah, some of the Disney stuff. And,
he'll finish it just in time for you guys to move.
Yeah.
I just touched a nerve.
That bad mojo on me.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, it is really awesome. We love it.
Yeah. So, do you guys have anything new in the works or anything, or are you guys pretty much good to go?
We try not to do anything. I did make some notes though. Let's see what my notes were.
Hit us with your questions or your notes.
This was mine because I'm curious how everybody else does it. So we all started in our garages. We all started small, raising minimums on customers that have been with you for years and having to explain why. And I feel like sometimes we have to say, it's not just me and Joe in the basement anymore, but they don't want to hear that. they don't want to hear that. How come we have to do 48 pieces now? And you won't take my 6 color back, 4 color front, 24 piece order anymore. Do you ever have anybody come back at you like, you used to do this, and just get really upset?
Yeah.
Because COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I don't know how to get around that, because I feel bad. They were our customers that were with us from the beginning, and we would do anything we could to keep those customers, keep growing the business. But
I don't know if this is a shitty way to say this or go about this, but it's what I did. And it's probably not the greatest, but the old customers I used to have when we had kind of like different minimums and all this other stuff, they still come to me and they're like, hey, I want to place this order. The very first thing I do is I push them off on someone else. So like they know they can get away with it because they're talking to me, and like they dealt with me on those before, or like they know I'm the owner. But when I say, I'm not focused on that anymore, Sarah or Morgan or Chris or whoever I have to hand it to them in order to get this job done, because that's just not my area anymore.
Right.
Then as soon as it goes to them, they ask them, and they're just like, oh, these are our new policies and everything else. And they kind of don't have the same footing as they had when they were talking to me, because they know they could be like, well, this is how I used to do it. And it's like me saying that it changed hands to someone else because the company grew to the point where I can't handle that anymore is like the first sign of like, they do things differently now.
Yeah.
So like I said, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but like for me, a lot of like me handing stuff off and delegating has led to it's the new change of the guard, the new rules kind of thing.
I do that a lot. People text me or Facebook message me or something. I'm like, just call the office and place your order. But to explain to somebody, like the girl answering the phone makes 20, the person making the screens makes 20, the person on the press makes 20. Like your 24 piece order now only makes me like $50.
Right.
It's not like the 150.
I think that's your answer. I think that for what, and it's almost exactly what I say to our customers whenever that happens. And so, I think the answer is exactly that. I think that, look, when you first started out, you had a smaller team, and now that you've grown and evolved, you've taken a hard look at where you're making money, and you were losing money under a certain amount, because now it just touches a lot of hands, and all these people that work here, we take care of them well. They all have not just high per hour compensation, but they have full benefit package. And so in order for me to continue printing for you at a certain, it has to be at a certain quantity. And what I do now is that we go ahead and print that order, because maybe they're surprised, like, oh, I had no idea, that's what's happening, and da-da-da. So we say, okay, look, this time we'll print your, just 10 shirts. But just so you know, next time it is that new minimum. It's
their heads up.
Yeah. Like if they hadn't heard before and they didn't see in the quote or whatever it is.
Sometimes, depending on who the customer is, like I'll try to educate them by just bringing them back there, and I'll walk them through the process.
That's a good idea too.
We'll go to the screen room, and I'll show them, here's where it gets coded, and the image and the exposure and the washout. And then, it comes here, and all these screens, one for each color, got to be put on I just kind of give them, to let them see all the people and all the big expensive equipment that needs to be used to make that happen. And then sometimes they're like, oh my God, I never knew it was so, I think most people's idea of how screen print happens is like DTG.
Like it goes in a printer and out the other side.
Yeah. You just, and it's
you get that all the time. They drop stuff off at noon and they're like, can I go back at 3 and get these? And it's like, can I hoof you out this door right now?
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, just turn them over to your daughter. How old is she? Like 10 or 12?
Explains you. Yeah.
Yeah. Let her handle it.
But sometimes when they know, and they tell a customer 48 pieces, and then someone messages me, hey, I didn't know your minimum's raised. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk to them. And then they're like, you made me do it 48 pieces, and now you're telling them it's okay. It's like, I know, I do that. I try not to do that, but sometimes I do. Like it just depends on who it is.
What other notes did you have?
Oh, let's go back to this.
Well, I have one while she's looking up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Really read.
So, Andy, your wife works with you at the shop, right?
Watch
Correct,
what you say
yes.
right now. I'm warning you.
Yeah, she's there. And Dylan, yours is stop, correct?
No, go ahead. Say whatever you want.
So like, you know, obviously our situation here, but you know, working with your spouse or not working with your spouse, what do you see as the biggest advantages or disadvantages of that?
Don't look at me. I can't answer that shit, Andy. It's all you.
He said not working.
Working with or not working with.
Oh, hell yeah. All right.
So,
Yeah.
So for you, what do you think the advantages or disadvantages are of not working with your spouse?
I'm in charge.
That's your advantage.
That's 100% the answer.
Okay.
I feel like he might not be in charge at home.
No, I'm in charge. Well, I'm not going to say I'm in charge at home, but I'm just saying when you're at home and you make a big decision, it's usually a 50-50 of like pros and cons back and forth and all this other stuff. It's like when I'm here at work and I have an idea or I have something that we want to get done, like it's me and it's on me and it's just my decision to follow through with it. Like I deal with the consequences if it wasn't a good idea. I don't want to deal with consequences on stuff if it was me and my wife, and I feel like that would suck.
I mean, I think that early on we probably had a few instances where we had, you know, we butted heads over a couple of things, but I mean,
you're just so you're so used to it now, though, is the thing.
What? No. But and I think that, you know, it's not for everybody, that's for sure. Joanne and I, we have very different roles here. And so we sort of, we never really have those, never has to be 50-50. I mean, yeah, sure. There's from time to time, there's something that she wants to do that I maybe think isn't, you know, maybe I wouldn't, but I just let her do that because that's her role. Like if she thinks I mean, how am I supposed to, I think I have an understanding of what she's wanting to do and I don't really want that, but I just let her do it because she'll figure it out. Like if it doesn't work, well then.
Right. But if she crashes and burns, then you have to be there to pick her up at work.
And vice versa, which is really, really great because, you know, she, like nobody else, understands when shit hits the plan. I love that saying these days. She understands like nobody else. And so I can tell her either right here at work where I can kind of close the door softly and say, you know, holy shit, you know, this just happened and I can just vent for a second. And I know that it's safe to vent to her, you know, and so that's really, really good. But at the same time, I think you have to be very, very careful because you have to learn sort of what you just said when he just asked this question. You have to learn how to choose your words carefully because, you know, I think guys have the tendency to say the wrong shit sometimes.
What happens?
You know?
What happens if shit goes wrong at home? All right. For example, say you wake up that morning and you decide to Dutch oven your wife in the bed. You have to fucking hang out with her all day at work. You can't escape that shit for fucking 8 hours.
Oh, shit. That's hilarious.
I mean, you're right. It doesn't work for everybody.
Well, I'm just saying, like, work's an escape for at least 8 hours.
I guess we all know why Dylan doesn't work with his wife now.
Yeah.
But really, I think that I know a lot of shops that are husband and wife, and I think that they most of them are pretty happy about that fact, you know. And then I know other shops that, you know, they say, oh, there's no way I could ever work with my wife. And so I just think that, and maybe they're right and maybe they're wrong. I don't know if they've, you know, ever even tried it. So I don't know. I think that it works for us, and I like it. I enjoy supporting her when she's having a tough time, and then vice versa. And we just try to make the rule of when we get home that we sort of leave as much as we can at work. Even though, like I've said this before, even though we end up talking about it sometimes, you know, the shirt he's wearing, Becker Supply, they have, it's a husband and wife team. And we had a little bit of a conversation about it with them. And in fact, they have twins that are really young, you know, so can you imagine just like, you know, you work together and you're also raising these really young children together. It's one thing when your children are grown like yours are, or more grown. It's just it takes a toll, that's for sure. And so if your relationship is strong I'm going deep here. Like if you've got a strong relationship, and I feel like I'm getting good vibes from you guys, you know, that it's it'll work, you know, and why are you laughing, dude?
I took it a different way. It's okay. It's like that creepy guy at the bar. It's the creepy couple at the bar with the single person at the other end. They're like, I'm getting good vibes off of you guys.
But I mean, personally, I love it. And like for me, though, you know, for the past, you know, my whole life, basically being on the fire department, I mean, there was always at least 24 hours out of every 3 days I'd be gone. You know, I'm away from the family, staying at the fire station. You work an overtime day, you're gone 2 days out of 3. You know, sometimes they mandatory you to work. I mean, there's been days where I've spent 5 days straight at the fire station. I mean, it wouldn't be uncommon for that to happen, you know, maybe once a year or something. So like that was always my biggest regret about the fire department was how much time that I spent away from my family. And so for me, in, you know, retirement, or at least getting rid of that one job, I wanted this one to be where I could spend more time with her. And so, yeah, so it is nice.
Good save.
I mean,
Good
like,
save. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, if I was sitting here every day, or if I went to be a Walmart greeter or whatever, you know, like, you know, I still wouldn't get to see her, you know, every day like I do now. I mean, it works better for it. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but we have a really sound relationship. We don't, you know, we're not like at work, you know, going at it over ideas about things, you know, where we're just head to head. But
We divide and conquer.
yeah,
I do operations, he does production.
right. And so, you know,
I feel like, long story short, that's the key, is that you guys are doing different things.
right.
You know what I mean? If you guys were
probably
both in sales or both production managers, you would argue.
Right. Yeah.
There's times I don't see him all day long.
Yeah.
I'll walk by and I'll be like, hey.
Yeah. We're in the same building, but we may not see each other, but it's nice to at least be close, you know?
Right.
Or,
Yeah, if you have strengths and weaknesses, if they play into each other, you know, if it happens to be that your personalities match up just perfectly, I think it works out great, even better than if you were, you know, by yourself, even if it was just your own company. So
yeah, because, you know, like I said, she'll go headlong into something. And sometimes I think, you know, if I can be a voice of restraint or reason about, hey, let's think about this for a minute. I think that helps her. And then on the opposite side, you know, if I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea, and she'd give me that little extra nudge of like, this is going to work, you know, and I trust her, you know, opinions on things. I mean, she's very smart and capable, and the place would shut down if she wasn't there.
Are
If I
you
wasn't there, it
hold
would
on?
still operate.
Are you holding a knife to his leg right now?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts.
So I saw him twinge real quick. He's like, she's so smart. She's so funny.
But it works for us.
Yeah, it does work.
Okay, cool. All right. You guys have any more questions for us or shop hacks?
Healthy mix of retail and contract work, or stick with one or the other? That's
the debate. I feel like for me personally, I've done no contract work for so long. I would much prefer to just do my own direct to customer. But the problem is that it's harder to get those jobs. Contract work's easier to get because you're not having to go get them. The downside too for me is that I have to do all the customer service and all the everything. You know what I mean?
So that's what I was going to say.
Contract work is like you could just be a manufacturing facility and know how to print really well, and that's it. So I feel like it depends on what you want to do. If you want to do the customer service and deal with your customers and all other stuff, then go that route. If you want to just have your doors closed and no sign on your walls and just kind of like be like, I just print and make money, then contract's the way to go. Or you could do a mix of both and dial it up or down depending on what's working well. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is where I said I wouldn't mind taking on a contract job or two because it'll fill in the gaps for me when it's slow. But I don't want that all the time. I only want that when I want to make sure the presses are still spinning if it's slow for some reason.
Yeah. You probably have to do half the work that we do to make the same amount of money.
Right. That's the thing.
Yeah. So we had to pick, like during COVID, I mean, so many people were going out of business. People were trying to find a print shop. Well, we were essential because we're self-proclaimed essential. We didn't get the paperwork, but like we print for public safety. But I think it switched. Like we went more contract during that time because of money reasons too. Like getting product and then having to front the money. Like
Right.
no one really wanted to get rid of that much cash out of their business. So it's like, all right, let's just do the printing. We're already paying the labor.
Mhm.
So let's just do that side because it's kind of hold on to every penny you have, unless you get someone to prepay or something like that.
And that's the problem too with me going from what I'm used to saying I want to take on contract, and then I make a contract price sheet and I send it to somebody and they're like, "Oh, you must be kidding." Like I'm used to spending, 18 cents a print or something. I'm like, well, you can
No.
go to hell because I'm not doing that. Like
And I think that's so my answer to this
I just
question,
made up 18 cents, but I'm just saying like it's low when you're used to making
Right.
$6-8 a
$8.
garment,
Right.
Yeah.
and
Well,
you're
that's just
like
it.
doing it for 88 cents.
I think my answer to this question, or I know my answer to this question has changed over time, because I would answer this question 10 years ago. I would say 100% retail, 0 contract. I think now my answer is a mix, because I think it's been harder and harder to make customers happy. I don't know what it is. You would think there would be some sort of compassion since COVID and inflation
Might have
and all these
something to
other
do with
things.
the world ending.
Maybe, but I mean, I'm telling you, like this, seriously, I think that, I spend a lot of money on customer service. I have many people on our customer service team. But if I just did contract work, those people they're not here. And I'm not saying I'm going to let go of them or anything, but if I'm going to grow, I want to grow my contract side, because I don't want to grow my customer service team, because it's hard enough for them to make everyone happy. I mean, I was going to ask a question earlier, but I know we were running out of time, but I'm fixing a 70 hat order next week. And I'm fixing this order and we did nothing wrong. Like we were given some wrong art. We proofed it, and they still signed off on it and said, yes, they want it. And they received the hats, embroidered hats, and it's slightly off. Like it's really, really close, but it's not exactly what they wanted. And they called and said they were upset. This is a customer who spends over 100K here. And so they said, look, we're not happy with these hats. And I'm fixing them. No questions asked. I told them though, I didn't just I shouldn't say no questions asked, because I set sort of expectations, said, look, here's how we received the art. And obviously we don't want this to happen again. And so here's how I think we should receive the art in the future. And so they said, okay, cool. So they understood that, how to avoid this, but they were on VC. I don't know. They were like a value cap. It was $3 a cap times 70 is $210 on caps. And then of course we're going to pay some labor to restitch them, but it is not worth it to me to tell them no, like forget it, it's your problem. So I'm going to fix that order. And my point to telling that story is that if it was contract work, it's just contract work. That's your problem now. You have to deal with that customer who isn't upset,
Right.
and replace the hats and all this sort of stuff. And so I think that, yeah, Dylan, you're right. I think there's a lot of work out there that may be 18 cents or whatever you said. But you don't print for those contractors. You find the contractors that want to spend a premium dollar, and because they know that our company is going to provide the same quality we do for our the retail customer, and the same turnaround and the same service and all that sort of stuff. And so they come here because their order's not going to get jacked, and they pay a little extra. And I'm saving all of that money in the art department and the customer service and everything like that. And so I think that if you really look at it, you maybe aren't making any less. In fact, you maybe make more.
Yeah, I have the perfect thing in here. I was talking to I don't know if I should mention the shop or not. I was talking to a buddy shop, and he asked me something on here. He said, fired all of our contract clients while on vacation this week. Long overdue, bringing the power back to the printer, at least for our shop anyways. And I said, I'm proud of you. And he said, I spoke to Dre this week, and he said, giving economy class passengers tickets to first class service was what he was told basically. And then he was like, as soon as I heard that, I fired them all the next day.
I don't know. That's one way to look at it. But, the shop that are the contractors we work with are not necessarily brokers. They're either
No, I get it.
brands.
And I get what you're saying is that you need to find the right contractor. Don't go out to the ones that are just, low ball everything, which I get. And I agree with that. And it's more of a relationship and something you want to build and, get paid for what you're worth. And I think if you're getting paid what you're worth for what you can put out and what your quality is, then that's perfect. And I know your contractors, and I know that that's what they're looking for. And that's what they're appreciating. So I think you've got it going good with that. I'm just saying that if you're just jumping out into random contract, I feel like 9 times out of 10, those people are trying to get lowest possible. Like if they're coming to you with a price list, that's usually where it's like, okay, like they don't give a shit what I want to charge. They're like, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I think it will. The one thing I do like about taking on contract work, it really shows you where your inefficiencies are, because if you're going to make money doing contract work, you got to be efficient.
Yeah.
And so that was an eye opener for us, when we first started doing it, doing a lot of it was like, wow, we need to, that job didn't make very much. We got to find a better way to do this, and so it like kind of rushed our, technology advancements and going to CTS and things like that, just like we have to have a way to keep this moving a lot faster, have press assistance and all that. But it will let you know if you're doing things
real
right or not.
I think that's a good point. I mean, I think that if you're taking on contract work, you certainly don't want to have a manual press and, burning screens with film, and you're the person that's doing that. And then who's cleaning the screens? Maybe it's you too. I mean, I had somebody message me and say, hey, this is going to be my first contract job. Should I do it? And they're a one-man shop. And so I said, the answer is no, if you're one man shop, but if you have, I think in this case, if you want to do this job, because it would make them, it could potentially make them money, then you have to have somebody come in and help you. You need somebody at the end of the dryer and so on. If you're going to really make this work, make this profitable for you. And so, yeah, I think it comes down to knowing your costs and knowing, and choosing your contractors, being very selective in your partnerships. And I think then it can really, really work. I know that it can. It works for our shop. And so yeah, it's
our customers along the way. It's like, that's just not worth it. It's cool to have them on our resume, but it's just not worth it at the end of the day. I'm not working 10-hour days, Saturday and Sunday, worrying about if their tags are on the right direction. It's just too much.
Yeah, I get it. Well, do you guys have any shop hacks?
I've got nothing.
And most people probably figure this out on their own, but I didn't actually do it. I mean, I think I thought of this on my own, but I'm sure I didn't. But when we moved shops just recently, I was like, why don't I have 2 washout booths? Why don't I have one washout booth where all the dirty shit happens in? And then I have one washout booth that's just for degreasing screens and developing screens. And so I did that. And I've been real happy with that. It's just like, it lessens that chance of just, splashing that little flick of ink up onto your screen when you're developing it or something and causing an issue later. So,
no, that's huge. We did that for a really long time. It's definitely, it's why would you put a clean screen that you're super concerned with making sure it stays clean or pinhole free in a dirty booth?
Right.
Spray it out.
And I did that for the longest time. And I don't know why. Now I don't do it.
Probably because of space.
Space and like, oh my gosh, it's another.
Or you don't know what you don't know. Like you don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know it until you try it. So
I would say pre-shirt show and pre-printado, like podcasts. There's a lot of things. That would be my shop hack. Listen to the shirt show.
Watch shirt show.
Watch shirt show.
Shop hack right there.
I mean, honestly, we have done so many things. The tape thing, measuring out the tape on the table.
Yeah, I think I got that from you, Andy. Putting the lines on the table to pull the tape from the thing. Yeah.
That's a Kyle right there. Yeah.
All kinds of different things. So.
Mm-hmm. You hear a lot of things where you're like, oh, that's really bad. I'll never do that.
Yeah, but we probably tried them all though. Like we should try that and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, let's do some quick takes.
All right.
Andy?
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
You both were just like, I need one right now.
Right. Yeah. Like, I gotta be away from it. Like staycation, there's still going to be that random, I got to drop by the shop for something.
Where does she want to go is what I want to know.
Yeah. She wants to go to Dubai.
That's not something I was expecting.
Yeah. Us either.
I was expecting like Disney. She's like, Dubai. Let's go to Dubai.
Yeah. I don't know where she got that, but it sounds cool. I don't know.
It's cool. It's cool with me. Let's see. Messy desk or clean desk? And I bet they're different.
Nah, clean.
Both clean.
I have OCD. Yeah,
I think, Andy, you have dirty drawer? Are you dirty drawer?
He has dirty drawers. That's different.
I have dirty drawer. Just my front middle one. All my other ones are nice and organized.
I can deal with the dirty drawer as long as it's out of sight.
Right.
Test the waters or dive in the deep end. Now those are going to be different answers.
Mhm.
The deep end.
Yeah, I'm a test. I'm trying to hold her back from jumping. Yeah.
That makes sense. Crunchy peanut butter or creamy peanut butter?
Creamy.
I always ask this as a second part. Do you do jelly or just peanut butter?
Probably jelly.
Grape. Grape
Okay.
jelly.
Well, it's just me then.
All right. So the final question, what's for dinner?
It's Kansas City, man. We're going for barbecue.
You guys got really good barbecue there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you get at barbecue? What are your go-tos?
Either sliced beef sandwich or burn ends.
Burn ends is where it's at. What about you? Same thing for both of you?
What do you get? I'm getting the same. Burn ends and beef. What do you get?
I hope she says like Thai food or something.
She's like peanut butter.
You know what? She likes sushi.
Yeah.
Like,
anything.
yeah. She likes Kate's barbecue, but yeah, she won't eat a bun on her hamburger, but you can take her out to have sushi and she loves it.
That's the opposite of normal children. My kids eat nothing but the bread.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
It's like we have Thanksgiving dinner. My kids will sit down and like we have all these plates and forks and knives and everything all beautifully laid out. Each of my kids' plates will literally be like a roll, and that's it. Like nothing else is getting eaten except pie.
Just bread.
Oh, okay, here's a question for everybody. Thanksgiving dinner, everything separated or you let pile
No,
up?
big pile.
Really? Oh, can't do it. Gotta
Big
be
pile
separated.
with no cranberry sauce anywhere.
Yeah, I skipped that too.
Yeah, it's gross. Yep. Andy, what are you having for dinner?
I don't know. Heck, you stumped me. I don't have an answer.
I'm going to Wegmans to pick up subs.
That sounds good. Get me one.
Okay, I'll pick one up. I'll mail it to you. Make
Guys,
sure to throw
thanks
it.
for chatting with us today.
Yeah,
Thanks for
having us. It's awesome.
That was
I feel
fun.
like we've reached the pinnacle of our spring career now. We were on Shirt Show, it's over. Right now, we can really retire.
Perfect. Or get into another building.
Ooh.